It's time for Recipe of the Day. I love ordering mussels in restaurants. In fact, actually, back when I was in Vancouver with my mom a few months ago, we went to a Belgian restaurant and had a mussel feast. It was unbelievable. But I have to say, I don't usually make them at home because I was kind of afraid of them a little bit. There's all this like scrubbing and debearding and are they closed? Are they open? It seemed a little complicated. But recently I have learned that the farmed mussels, which are available almost everywhere that you would get mussels, those ones are already pretty clean. They are usually debearded. They're good for the environment. They are healthy. And so I have been having mussels at home more. And the thing that I love the most about mussels, other than the mussels themselves, is the amazingly flavorful sauce that they could be cooked in and dipping bread in there. And since I usually find myself eating the sauce with a spoon and dipping the bread in there, I decided I should just suck it up and make mussel soup. Why pretend that it's just a sauce if I'm going to eat it with a spoon, right? Okay, so this is my recipe for spicy mussel soup. Before I get into this soup recipe, I want to tell you about my amazing sponsor, Zoop Good Really Good, and some of their wonderful soups. These are delicious soups with clean ingredients that you can have in your pantry when you need just a quick lunch, quick meal. They're there for you. They have 9 flavor-forward options, including chicken noodle soup, chicken pot pie, spicy chicken enchilada, a low-carb chicken and rice cauliflower, tomato bisque, butternut squash, garden vegetable, vegan black bean chili, and a portobello mushroom bisque that you can use instead of that canned cream and mushroom soup in recipes, or just eat it up. It is so delicious. All Zoop products are packaged in recyclable glass jars and are free of artificial ingredients, preservatives, and GMOs. They're available at your favorite natural and mainstream retailers across the country and through Instacart, plus online at zoopbroth.com, walmart.com, and Amazon. And I have an Amazon code for you for 20% off your first purchase of Zoop on Amazon. The code is 20recipeof, and it's good until October 8th. I will put all that information in the show notes for this podcast episode as well, so you can get your hands on some delicious Zoop soup. And now back to the spicy mussel soup. So you're going to start by heating a tablespoon of olive oil in a large pot, like Dutch oven sized, over medium heat. And you're going to add in a chopped onion, cook that until it's softened a little bit, and then go in with 3 cloves of minced garlic. You need lots of garlic in there, and also a half teaspoon to a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, depending on how hot you want that. Let that cook for about 30 seconds while you're stirring, and then add in a half cup of dry white wine. I like a Sauvignon Blanc or a Pinot Grigio for this. Now, if you did not want to use the wine, I would tell you to use an extra half cup of chicken broth. We're going to be coming to the broth in a moment, or vegetable broth, and add a couple of teaspoons of either lemon juice or white wine vinegar to that broth, and that'll bring some of that sourness in there. I actually think, looking at the flavor profile on this recipe, lime juice would work as well. So any of those things, if you don't want to use the wine, you're doing a half cup of broth with something a little acidic in there. Okay, stir that wine or your wine substitute in there really well, and then add a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes and a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes. Also add in 2 cups of chicken broth or vegetable broth, a half teaspoon of salt, and a good handful of fresh parsley that you've chopped up before adding. Chop up extra though, because you're going to want some as a garnish later. So then you're going to stir that up, put it over high heat, and cook until it comes up to a boil, and then reduce it down to a heavy simmer. While that's heating up and then coming down to a simmer, you can rinse off your mussels, give them a scrub if they need it. If any of them do have that little beard, it's kind of like a little string running around where the 2 edges of the shell meet, just pull that off. And then you want to make sure that these are all alive. So what you do is make sure they're all closed. They should be tightly closed. If any of them are open, tap them with another mussel, move them around a little bit, and see if they close on their own. If they close, they're good. If not, throw them out. You don't want to eat those. tomatoes. Okay, so now your soup should be simmering and your mussels are ready. Add the mussels to the pot, put the lid on, and cook until all of the mussels have opened up, or most of the mussels have opened up. If any of them have not opened, you should discard those. I'm going to tell you that I've actually been doing some research on this, and it seems that there are some studies that have found that it is safe to eat a mussel that has not opened, that you can like pry it open and eat it. But I take things a little slowly, and this has been the way that I've done things my whole life with mussels, is that if they don't open through cooking, you don't eat them. So I'm going to still go with that. You can do your own research and do something else if you'd like. And that is it. Taste that broth, make sure it has enough seasoning for you, and then ladle all those mussels and all that tomato soup into bowls, sprinkle with the remaining parsley. Serve with a lot of good crusty bread and a big spoon, because this is soup and you get to eat all that sauce, right? I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there, or find it in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/recipeotd. And hey, just a quick note. I'm on a recording hiatus right now, so for the next little while, I'm replaying episodes from the archives, including this one. If you heard me mention a holiday, a season, or something going on in my life that seemed a bit off, that's why. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're enjoying these older episodes. I am Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, cookfor2.us, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.